I honestly think of it as a game changer. I think it will take the effectiveness of the program up a really significant notch.
We just built it and then showed it, and it was like,
this tool has been the answer to all my prayers.
This was one of those things that blew me away.
I just truly appreciate you guys valuing our time.
Like, this is so much easier.
Overall, lots and lots of excitement.
What is even happening? Unreal.
One of the best things I've ever used.
Teachers are the hardest working humans out there, and you deserve a break. And we hope that this will provide that for you.
My name is Colleen Pollitt. I am part of the UFLI team. I'm going to have the pleasure of introducing the director of the University of Florida Literacy Institute, Holly Lane.
Thank you all for being here. We're really excited about this new development in UFLI land. So this work is a collaboration between UFLI, the University of Florida Literacy Institute, and Project Read. I wanted to just share a little bit about UFLI and its progress monitoring elements as they currently exist. So we do progress monitoring in UFLI in two different ways. One is that constant monitoring during the lessons. The teacher observation during lessons can tell you a lot of information, but it's also helpful to have a little bit more systematic data collection, something that you can analyze a little bit more carefully. And for that, we use our weekly spelling assessments. We know that if a child can encode a word, the chances are extremely high that they can decode that word. But the opposite is not true. A child might be able to read a word beautifully, but can't spell it to save their lives. So giving a spelling assessment gives us an indication of how skilled they are with that word. Here's some examples of a kiddo's assessment for both lesson 45 and lesson 46. So if we just look at the parts of the assessment that are the new concept points, we have the 3 regular words for both assessments, and then lesson 45 has both shut and trash in the sentence, and lesson 46 has them in the sentence. If I score these assessments, I see there's an error on the first one for trash, but that's the only error. So my student receives 4 new concept points and 10 out of 11 total points. I really only care about those new concept points for our purposes here. For lesson 46, we see an error for that, and we see an error for them. So they also missed one of the irregular words, and I'm going to take special note of that because it does contain the new concept, and that's the part of that word that they missed. So when I score this, they got 2 of the 4 new concept points and 8 of the 11 total points. But I'm going to pay attention to the fact that this student is also struggling with some of those irregular words, in particular, the new concept, that voice TH. So let's look at a group of students. And if I look at this with an assessment that had a total possible of 4 new concept points, I'm going to divide these kids up this way. The kids who scored 0 or 1 are in my intensive reteach group. The kids who scored 2 are in the reteach group. The kids who scored 3 are in the quick review group. And the kids who scored 4, they don't need any extra support for this concept. So that got us to the point of thinking, what if a tool existed that could help do all that work for me? Because as you can see, it's a little bit of work to pull all of that together. So that's where our collaboration with Project Read came. So as you might remember, I hope that you're all familiar by this point with Project Read and the decodable stories generator. So we had already been thinking about this assessment portal, and we had talked to several different techie type people that knew how to do these things, but they really didn't get what we were trying to accomplish because it really took some knowledge about reading. And then one day we get an inquiry from Viv, our friend at Project Read, who said he had developed this AI-based story generator, and he wanted to chat with us about it. And so we met with him, and immediately we knew we had found our guy, because Viv is not a techie guy first. He is a teacher first. He understands reading. He, like us, is always thinking, how can we make it cheaper? How can we make it more accessible for teachers? How can we make it more teacher friendly and more useful for teachers? This is our mindset at UFLI, and it was absolutely his mindset as well. So we were very excited to join him. So I'm going to actually let Viv now introduce the assessment and planning portal.
Holly, thanks so much for the kind words. And yes, I remember fondly coming down to Gainesville and us on a whiteboard trying to kind of assess what the problem was and what we could do to fix it. I got into building tech as a means to help teachers and help students ultimately. That being said, we were really excited to develop this tool, and here's a basic walkthrough of how it works. Okay, so as I mentioned, you can select up to 2 lessons. To use the examples we've been talking about today, I can select 45. And as you'll see, we have my student Holly at the very top, and then I also have my example classroom here. And it pre-populates the words that were in that assessment from the UFLI manual. If you want to add 2 lessons, then it does that again over here. You could definitely type in how a student misspelled a word. So I'm going to be Holly for a second. So that's the basic idea. So what you would see for a full class of input data is the following, and you also have the ability to edit this at any time. But you'll see your summary view, as I just showed you before, with each new concept small groups identified, as well as those activities from the manual for each day for each concept. And again, we see that for our second lesson as well, lesson 46. I wanted to show you the timetable view, which shows you that why, the rationale for why students were grouped into small groups and which days they show up in small groups. And that's true for lesson 45, as well as lesson 46. See those manual activities again, and you can see the labels for students. And so there's a lot more students in small groups from lesson 45 than in lesson 46. More students were able to successfully encode all of those opportunities. And then finally, the analysis tab. So we see Holly showing up here, and this was a previous concept, C makes K, and she had missed that. I think she encoded can with a K or something like that. But again, you see all of these analytics in terms of overall word accuracy, in terms of focus or new concept accuracy, in terms of regular word accuracy. And if you want to see that for both progress monitoring assessments combined, great. And if you want to see it broken out by each lesson, you can also do that. Finally, I know a lot of folks love to stay organized with their spreadsheet. So if you want to click download, then you will also get an Excel spreadsheet that allows you to keep track of that yourself.
Well, I'm with Lindsay, who in the chat said, "What is even happening? Unreal." It is a little mind-blowing. And it is a very efficient and helpful and time-saving and teacher-friendly tool that we are very, very excited to have. We have a few teachers who were part of our pilot group this year who have implemented it. And so I think it would be really nice to hear from them.
Hi, I'm Jessica, and I'm a second grade teacher in Hobbs, New Mexico. And when we were first told about this portal, we were blowing up the chat too, going just like, yay, this is going to be great. And we were super pumped about it. And then when we started using it, like myself, I was like, this is so much easier than sitting there trying to determine myself, like, where am I going to put the kids, and the ways that you shared, Holly. But this was so much easier. And I just, like, it is truly awesome. I love the ease of seeing my kids on one page. This is what I need to do on Monday with them for this lesson, and Monday for that lesson, and then Tuesday, like so on, right? It's just, I don't know. It's just awesome. I love it.
I love it. Well, thanks, Jessica. Jacqueline, you want to share?
Thank you, Dr. Lane, for having me tonight. This new scanning the progress monitoring is blowing my mind too. Simply amazing, saving us even more time. One of the things that I love is Friday and that progress monitoring. I'm a little bit of a data nerd, so I just can't wait to get my hands on that to kind of see where my students are. One of the things that I struggled with in the beginning was, how many times do I see my kids a week? What am I going to teach them? Am I teaching them the right thing in my intervention groups? And this tool has been the answer to all my prayers. Not only does it tell me who I need to see on which day, but it specifically tells me what I need to do and how many minutes I need to do it for. So I feel more confident that I'm providing them the correct instruction in that small group. And I will say, this past week when I did the progress monitoring, I had no students that needed to be pulled for extra support, which I was very excited about. My students love the program. I love the program. It's one of the best things I've ever used, spreading it throughout my school, and more teachers are really excited about it.
Thanks for sharing, Jacqueline, and our other Jacqueline. Thanks.
Hello. I've been using UFLI for about 4 years now. My first 3, I was using it as an interventionist. So trying to get through that data was pretty intense, trying to figure it out and where to go next. So if I would have had this, oh my gosh, it would have been so much easier and less time consuming. This year I'm using it in a first grade classroom. And when you guys gave it to us, like the ladies before me said, it blew my mind, because I didn't have to sit there and try to sort them out and go through all these different progress monitoring pages. And how could I group them? Who should I pick? And which day? It just did it, and it popped it out. I didn't have to then think of what activities to do with them, not even going back into the manual to try to find out which word chains I should use. It said exactly what I needed. And I just truly appreciate you guys valuing our time and being able to give us this to work with something that already is amazing. So thank you very much.
This is pretty much the feedback that we've heard universally from the people who have piloted it for us. So this is, a really cool development for us. I honestly think of it as a game changer. So I think it will take the effectiveness of the program up a really significant notch. So the effort that goes into collecting data and analyzing it to form really carefully targeted small groups is a lot. It's hard work, and I'm so glad that we have an option now that you don't have to do all that work. Our mission is always to make life as easy on teachers as we can. Teachers are the hardest working humans out there, and you deserve a break. And we hope that this will provide that for you.